Hello everyone. You're about to see some truly incredible footage in this documentary filmed all around the world. For years, reporters from the Tony Comedi Agency have traveled the globe, entering the most inaccessible and toughest prisons, some of which are downright ruthless, as you'll see. That's the case with Malave in the Philippines, where children as young as 10 years old are locked up. You'll also discover La Modelo in Colombia, where inmates live in underground tunnels while others are armed and take the law into their own hands. Our journalists also managed to enter several maximum security prisons in the United States, as well as the terrible Iraqi prisons, sometimes just simple cages in the middle of the street. Brace yourselves, because some of these images are shocking. What I'm going to show you isn't Netflix, it's not a series, it's reality. Welcome to the world's worst prisons.
You pee here?
Yeah, then we throw it out the back.
Do you have a container?
Yeah, we have a cup.
It's hard to see the line there.
I'll throw a lasso. That way he'll send it to you and we'll get closer.
You're right.
Are there people sleeping up there?
Yeah, everywhere, and hammocks on the floor up top.
Have you used it before?
Yeah, of course.
Gentlemen, keep in step.
How long has it been since you last saw a tree?
In 1998, 8 years ago, I saw a tree.
So 8 years locked up in concrete, obviously it's brutal. But you could say that he's an adult. He's paying for what he did, and he did some very, very serious things. In the Philippines, as you'll see, it's a different story. Kids discover prison before they've even finished middle school. Take a look at what our journalist filmed. It's the Malave in Quezon City. Over there, some are barely 10 years old, and they're locked up like dogs, and I really mean that. They're growing up in a place where they don't even have room to lie down to sleep, amidst the smell of urine and in appalling conditions. So I ask you, when that's your childhood, who do you become after that? What are you left with?
Quezon City is its children's prison. Today, there are 168 boys and 11 girls in the prison. The girls are kept separate. For the boys, there are 2 cells, each 35 square meters. There are 80 in each cell. Mickey has just been sent here by a city police station. Mickey's 15 years old.
I was accused of theft and homicide. There were thieves who broke into a store. They held up the place. There was a murder and I was accused.
One of the guards notices that he has a tattoo. That tattoo is Sputnik, the name of a city gang. Everyone in that gang has this tattoo. But in Quezon City, having a tattoo is forbidden. It's a crime.
This tattoo lets me be accepted by the gang, to have friends. It's my first time in prison.
Are you scared?
Yes, I'm scared.
Sodomy and other sexual assaults on children happen often in prison. There are actually known rapists living among the adult inmates in this facility.
Does it seem normal to you that these kids are in prison with you?
No, it's not normal for kids like that. So young? They're 10 years old. They should be at home. If you can give them their freedom, do it. Help them get out.
It's almost 5 a.m. and it's 86 degrees. On the left, one of the boys' cells. On the right, the girls' cell. The boys get more use out of the fan than the girls, even though it's hotter where they are. Around the isolation cell, an employee tries to clean up traces of urine.
In the United States, it's a different issue, and I'm curious to hear what you think about it. We filmed at the maximum security prison in Phoenix. There, Sheriff Joe Arpaio decided that inmates would serve their sentences in tents in the middle of the desert, under the scorching sun, dressed in pink and in chains. Oh, that just to humiliate them. The message is clear. Prison is meant to be painful, except that the United States is already the country that incarcerates the most people in the world. So the question is simple. If you're already the #1 country for incarceration and your violence and homicide rates are among the highest on the planet, is the solution really to be even more ruthless and cruel to inmates? I'm not so sure. Well, tell me what you like.
We only have a fan inside. But unfortunately, when it's 122 degrees, it just blows hot air at you. It's useless. It's actually better to just turn it off. It's like someone pointing the hairdryer at you.
Grigory, 35 years old, arrested for burglary, his first offense. He's gonna spend 6 months living under the tents.
This is where we live. Adrian is here.
Hey there, what's up, everyone?
Mike is sitting on the bed.
Hello.
And the oldest one, OG.
They're all minor offenders. Drunk drivers, drug addicts, burglars. They were sentenced to less than a year in jail. To make sure they don't want to come back. So all these inmates are dressed like convicts. But on top of that, under their striped uniforms, Sheriff Arpaio sneakily added his own personal touch.
We have pink boxers, pink underwear. I think he does it on purpose, so we won't want to come back.
Yeah, he's trying to humiliate us in front of the cameras.
And we filmed at Abu Ghraib prison. This prison was, as you likely remember, at the center of a global scandal after the release of images and videos showing American soldiers torturing and abusing their prisoners. This prison, as you'll see, still exists, and it's the first time it's opened its doors to a camera since it was closed.
In 2006, this jihadist was recruited and trained behind the walls of another Iraqi prison. Abu Ghraib prison, which at the time was under the control of the American army. According to the death row inmate, it was here that part of the strategy was born for what would become the world's largest terrorist organization. Abu Ghraib is a symbol for jihadists. He closed his doors in 2013. Today, the jihadist militants want to completely demolish it. Is that the entrance to the cells?
On your right.
Out of fear of reprisals, none of the site managers dare to appear on camera. I'm asked to do the tour alone. Since it closed, this is the first time a camera has been allowed inside. Remember the images of Iraqi detainees tortured by American soldiers? It was here. Humiliated, some of them became radicalized. Inside, nothing has changed. Crumbling walls. 2,400 prisoners were locked up in cells like this one. With nothing to pass the time but books that are now covered in dust. The only sacred reading they ever allowed themselves was the Holy Quran, which is the central religious text and the holy book of all Muslims.
I'll show you the cage where ISIS locked up anyone who didn't follow their rules, right in front of everyone.
And here it is, that cage. The locals don't dare destroy it. This is where part of the jihadist propaganda footage was filmed, showing Syrians locked up like cattle.
They would throw people into this cage for a day or two with no food, nothing at all. They would lock this door with a padlock. They terrorized people. They humiliated them in this cage.
How do you feel being inside?
I feel bad. I really don't feel well. Can you imagine being here in front of everyone? Who deserves this? To be punished so brutally?
A change of continent and a radical change of atmosphere. Now, we're in Colombia, in the city of Cartagena. This is the San Diego Women's Prison. Of course, we're far from Baghdad and its jails from another era, but it's still very tough. There are 120 women crammed together in a tiny cell with only one bathroom for 120 women, as you can imagine. As you'll see, Katrina is 26 years old, she's the only European, and she's been suffering since she was arrested for cocaine trafficking.
Murderers, drug traffickers, all mixed together in close quarters. In the middle of his courtyard, there are miracles, a smile beneath blonde hair. That smile belongs to Katrina, 26 years old, the only European woman incarcerated here.
Right now, I think there are almost 120 of us in this prison. We all share the same bathroom.
Katrina was arrested with half a kilo of cocaine in her bag. That's what they call a mule, a low-level drug trafficker. For the past 6 months, she has been living in this cell that's barely 10 square meters.
There are 13 of us living here. That's my bed, the one on the top. It's really tough at night when we're all in the cell for 11 hours.
So what's life like here?
It's good, it's good. Well, no, it's awful. I'm in prison, you know. Come on, let's go outside.
Do you feel safe?
I feel safe with the girls in my cell because no one steals, no one does drugs, and no one fights.
And is it the same in the other cells?
Yeah. This is our yard. The girls spent 3/4 of their time here, sitting in the shade.
And still in Colombia, I think this is the worst one in the world. We filmed it years ago, but from what I've heard, it's still the same madness. So those with some means live in these grim tunnels where the air is unbreathable. The poorest ones, they don't even have a cell at all. They sleep on the floor wherever they can, wherever they're allowed to sleep. And the richest, those with the most resources, they have weapons. They're the ones running the prison because the Colombian state has given up. Basically, criminal groups make the rules and reign behind these walls. It seems to me that's not really what a prison is for. Don't you think?
When you're moderately wealthy, you can afford a tunnel. They're 100 meters long and barely a meter wide. How many people live here?
I don't know. You have to ask the person in charge.
The deeper you go into this tunnel, the hotter it gets and the less air there is.
Here, you pay rent.
How much is it?
€2 a week. This is the widest part of the tunnel. There's no more air. The only way out is the way we came in. It's hotter here than at the entrance, and the air doesn't circulate anymore. This is the poor man's dormitory.
Shanty towns have sprung up all over. Usually a shack houses 5 or 6 prisoners. Why don't you have cells?
Because we're poor, we don't have any money.
And the administration?
Nothing.
You can clearly see the prison is overcrowded. The people you see on the ground during the day are the same ones who sleep there at night.
At Pelican Bay Prison in the United States, the high security unit is the complete opposite. There, authorities are in absolute control, and inmates like Eddie Mills have no freedom left at all. Now, you might have already seen this footage because the video has tens of millions of views on YouTube, but it was us at Tony Comedi who filmed this inmate who hasn't seen a tree in 8 years and whose only view is a 5x3 meter concrete pit. You don't need to be a shrink to understand that living in these conditions will drive you completely insane. So I ask you, is it the role of prison to make criminals even more insane? Or does it seem useful to keep breaking an inmate who will one day be released back into society?
A concrete pit, 5 meters by 3? This is what Eddie Mills' exercise yard looks like. Prisoner C-3008 at Pelican Bay. How long has it been since you last saw a tree?
A tree? The last time I went to court in 1998, 8 years ago, I saw a tree. It was during a riot in Nevada.
Every day, for 1 hour, this is where Eddie Mills is allowed to stretch his legs. Because this inmate is being punished. He is subjected to the most extreme regime in the American prison system. Supermax, the high security unit, Yankee style. This time, Eddie Mills was tried for armed robbery. Sentenced to life in prison. Against the back wall. Here, he is considered a model inmate. That's actually the reason we were allowed to approach him. But for security reasons, there's no way we could go into his cell with him.
I think the thing I miss the most is human contact. Walking around, joking, playing, shaking hands with other inmates. I miss that.
In prison, Eddie made his situation worse. As a member of a neo-Nazi gang, he stabbed another inmate. That's why he was placed in the high security unit. That was 11 years ago. All these years locked up, I've seen guys lose it, break down mentally. They don't say anything anymore. They just sit all day staring at the wall, and they let their minds drift away. If you let yourself slid, that's what could happen to any of us. Sentenced to long terms, even life, they have very little hope of ever regaining their freedom. At Pelican Bay, life is punctuated by clashes between rival gangs. Racial riot. Attempted stabbing in the middle of the exercise yard. Settling scores. Since the prison was established, 18 inmates have been murdered and 5 have been shot by guards.
Violence, as you can imagine, often breaks out at La Modelo in Colombia too. Naturally, you'd say it's the guerrillas, and there are 200 of them who control the buildings and rule the entire prison. They are armed to the teeth.
It's 10:30 a.m., and the shooting that just broke out isn't happening outside the walls, but inside the prison. When the police and military finally stormed the prison, they found 25 dead.
Death is always present. In the hallways, in the rotundas, in the yards. As if it wanted to remind us that we all have an end.
The ones holding the gates are these men, 200 guerrillas, detained but armed, who control the buildings and watch over the other prisoners.
We have to be armed inside the prison. That's why my bodyguards carry weapons.
But you're ready to fight?
Yes! We always have to be ready for war, wherever we are, inside prison or outside. The state takes away our freedom. It's our only way to survive.
Have you ever used it?
Yes, of course.
What's crazy is that even in high security prisons built in the United States, with all the deprivation and 24-hour surveillance, inmates like Eddie Mills, who are ultra controlled, still manage to find loopholes and enjoy a tiny bit of freedom. Well, really just a tiny bit. Because as you'll see, Eddie just found a paintbrush to paint with, which is totally forbidden in this prison.
The administration allows television, pens, and a few books. Technically, paintbrushes are forbidden, and yet Eddie still managed to find a way to paint.
Looks like he found a feather out in the yard. He might be using it to draw the small details. But it's a prohibited item. We're going to confiscate it. This feather could be dipped in human secretions and thrown through the door, hitting a guard or another inmate. 85% of the inmates here have hepatitis C. I don't want to go home after being hit by an infected feather and risk contaminating my family.
This cell is occupied by Blake. At 33 years old, this inmate has already spent 10 years in prison. After the search, he checks to make sure all his photos are still there, including the ones discreetly stuck above his bed.
I try to keep these photos a bit hidden because if they're too visible, they'll take them away and won't give them back.
Blake is no angel. Back in the day, he was officially convicted on a serious charge of armed robbery during the year of 2009.
I don't have a real 10. See? It's a soft egg. I can't dig with it, and I can't hurt anyone either. We don't have real toothbrushes either. They only gave me this, you see. It's really tiny, so you can't make weapons with it. Here, I can't go into the other blocks. If I go there, it's considered an escape attempt.
Weapons? Guards find them almost every day. They're kept here, away from the inmates, in an administration office.
All of these are weapons that were made by the inmates. These ones were made from pieces of the building's ventilation system. By selling this to gang members or just to an inmate who needs a weapon, a prisoner can make at least $50 or even $100 for this one, because this weapon can really kill a man.
They make knives out of glass or even plastic.
They're clever. They chose to use plexiglass. And plexiglass doesn't set off the metal detector. Some of these weapons have been found on inmates, on themselves, hidden in their pockets, in their pants, in their coats, and even in their rectum.
At the Phoenix prison in Arizona, at the time of filming, Sheriff Arpaio is the one running the prison. The 80-year-old man likes to be called the toughest sheriff in the United States, and he created this desert prison to prove it. In the summer, under the tents, temperatures exceed 55 degrees, and in the winter, they drop to below 5 degrees. In chains, the convicts are forced to wear pink underwear and striped prison uniforms. The sheriff himself has even called this prison a concentration camp.
6:30 in the morning. Come on, guys, it's time to get up. The day starts with a roll call. Hey there, man. Excuse me. Would you mind showing me your badge right now? I'm doing the head count. I'm checking that they're actually in the tent and in their beds. And you there? Where's your badge? A tough wake-up to the sound of the American anthem. Then, to get everyone moving faster, we play the cavalry charge. As soon as they wake up, they come to get the single-blade razor. Inside, there's no bathroom, just a big dining hall where up to 300 inmates crowd together. They have no privacy at all.
You don't get me shaving cream. Oh no, that would be way too nice. Sheriff Joe Arpaio wants to humiliate us, to make us feel miserable. He treats us like dogs here. Joe Arpaio, the county sheriff. At 79 years old, he likes to be introduced as the toughest sheriff in the United States. His motto? Zero tolerance.
If you do something wrong, you have to pay. That's how it is.
That's your policy.
That's my policy. It's obvious.
This is the worst place in the United States. Hey man, go shave over there. Go on right now. You can't keep anything except your mustache, not even sideburns. And you, don't hide your face. Go shave. It's a military-style supervision that Sheriff Joe Arpaio has put in place. I think if some of these guys had gotten this a little earlier in their lives, a better sense of self-worth, they wouldn't be here now. Now, we're gonna line them up and put their chains on. They fought among themselves or insulted a guard. As punishment, these inmates are chained up. All right, gentlemen, march in place. With their chains on their feet, they have to march in step. Get ready. All units, listen up and prepare to move out. Stand tall, keep your eyes front, and on my signal, I want everyone to step off together with precision. Squad, attend to your spacing, maintain your formation, and get ready to advance. Forward, march! All right, listen up, everyone. I need you guys to carefully pull out all of those pesky weeds you see growing in the garden beds, and then make sure you place every single one of them securely into the large disposal bags we have ready over there. Please be thorough as you work through the soil to ensure we get the roots out completely so they do not grow back, and once your specific area is clear, go ahead and tie those bags up tightly so we can move them to the curb for pickup later this afternoon. The goal is to set an example, a surprising way to do prevention. If you drive down this road with your family, you'll tell your kid, hey, don't mess up, no drugs, or you'll end up like these guys.
But the worst part is when they leave you to rot in unsanitary cages, like what you're going to see in Colombia with the women. Then with the men in the Philippines, these poor children locked up like animals in livestock cages. That's really the hardest thing to bear. How can anyone do that to humans? How can anyone do that to kids?
She tried to steal my girlfriend's drugs. She's being punished. She's in solitary confinement.
You have to stay for 5 days?
Yeah, we're locked up.
There are 2 of you here?
Yeah. We're gonna be locked in here for 5 days. You smell that? It stinks.
This is our solitary confinement. We lock people in here for offenses committed in the yard. Insults, stares.
Please, you need to fix my problem. You have to let me out. Sunday's visiting day. It's been 15 days since I got out. I need to wash up for the visit. Let me out.
Okay, I'll take care of it.
When we went in, there were about 50 prisoners locked up in the tunnel. Are there people sleeping up there?
Yes, everywhere. In hammocks, on the floor, up above.
And what's in there?
That's the food.
It's got.
No, it's bad.
What's the worst thing here?
The lice.
There are 8 other boys who aren't in the regular cells. But at Mita, this cage where they try to get a bit of air, those who were punished can stay there for several days.
He's in purgatory because he hit some of the younger kids. But he's gonna be released soon.
You pee here?
Yes, afterward we throw it out the back.
You have a container?
Yes, we have the cup.
In France, of course, we're far from these extreme cases. But we mustn't forget that even in Europe's largest prison, Fleury-Mérogis, the inmates are packed in together. Built for 2,900 inmates, there are now over 4,800 at Fleury, nearly double the capacity. So as you can imagine, it's hardly a life of luxury. Faced with the inevitable tensions in these conditions, the guards do what they can.
Justice, we're coming for you. The administration, we screw it over.
It's easy when you're behind a window. Face to face, it might be just a little bit harder.
Nadine Piquet runs the Fleury-Mérogis detention center, the largest prison in Europe.
It's a mud pit.
Please, just turn it down a bit, please. Hey, in less than an hour, I'm going out for yard time. Then you can help me.
At Fleury, the 1,400 guards, the bars, the locks aren't enough to stop the bombs that form day and night between the inmates. Abu, you have got any smokes? No, I didn't even believe it. I messed up my thing.
From one cell to another, the prisoners talk, often in coded language.
Please go ahead and send that over to me. For mine.
Hold on, I'm sending a lasso. Go ahead.
Thanks to their lasso, strips of torn sheets, they pass packages from one window to another. The prison administration does what it can to try to limit the phenomenon. Searches are carried out daily in cells, at random.
Hey there, did you happen to get a chance to look inside the fridge yet? Yeah, I actually already went ahead and took a really good look in there. Are you sure? Did you make sure to check all the way in the very back behind everything?
Already checked here. Last one.
What have you found so far?
Tampered power cable.
And you haven't found a phone?
Not yet.
That would open up for you when I take the example.
Inside this radio is a forbidden item, yet one that's very common in prison.
a charger cable, an iPhone, a charger cable. They'll get a disciplinary sanction and lose some of their sentence reduction.
In Colombia, from the start, we've painted a very dark picture of the Bogotá prison. It's well-deserved, but there are some positives. Just like a small town, the prison has its own main square with a whole bunch of shops and restaurants serving various cuisines, Italian, Turkish. There's even a bakery. Now, that's only if the inmates have money, because otherwise it's the canteen, one meal a day. And as one of the inmates says, you've really got to be hungry.
Inmates who can't afford to eat at the restaurant eat whatever they can find, whatever's left for them. That's a picture of the Archangel, St. Michael. You don't have anything else to eat?
No, sir.
The prison administration provides one meal a day at 11 o'clock. To go there, you have to be hungry. Only the most destitute go there, those who are truly hungry. Around this square, there are several restaurants, each with its own specialty. The pastry chef comes from Europe. He was arrested for fraud. The baker's neighbor is the best restaurateur in La Modelo. Italian cuisine is a specialty, and it's worth mentioning that Giancarlo, the owner, is Italian. He's really been around, which has allowed him to get to know a few other prisons. He says he once stayed in the one in Nice and was arrested here in Colombia for using fake documents.
Strawberry, blackberry, banana, apple, and pineapple juices.
For the past 2 years, the prison administration has launched an original project almost unique in the world. They opened a restaurant inside the prison. Only model inmates are allowed to work there. There are 7 of them in the kitchen. Katrina's on service.
Me, I'm here every night. Some girls don't come every day, but I don't want that. Because it's much better for me to be here than to be in my cell.
I feel happy when I go to work. I talk with the people who come in. I chat. Shut up, stop laughing.
Tell me, I get the feeling you laugh a lot, right?
Yes, and even more with this handsome guy here, this good-looking cook.
That's an appliance store.
There are 35 artisans and shopkeepers. The shopkeepers are regular inmates who run businesses.
All these businesses are for the survival of the inmates. It's thanks to this that we support our families, that we earn a living inside the prison. It's with the administration's approval.
Sunday is the day for...
The various individuals are currently in the process of making their many scheduled visits to several different locations throughout the entire course of the afternoon today. Standing right here in this exact same spot for what feels like an absolute eternity now, watching the entire world slowly pass me by as the hours and days just continue to blend together into one long, never-ending stretch of time that I cannot seem to escape no matter how hard I try. The moment that I finally walked away from my home, it felt like I lost absolutely everything I ever owned.
So here, I made this album for her. And one day I'll give it to her. This is a photo of her and me when she was little. She looks like me, right? It makes me sad, really sad. She forgot all about this. I just want to remind her. We've watched so much. This is a photo she hates, but I love it. Oh no, that's why you shouldn't wear makeup.
Why are you crying?
Because I want to get out of here.
How do you see your future?
Nothing. I don't think about anything. I don't have any plans for afterwards.
So we have to wrap up after these last heart-wrenching images. Today, there are more than 11 million people locked up around the world. So after showing you these various places of detention worldwide, I'd really like to hear your thoughts. Does a very harsh system seem more effective to you? Or is it, on the contrary, a system that breeds even more crime, which poses a real danger to society when the inmates inevitably get out at some point? I really do read the comments, so speak up. Tell me what you think. If you found the video interesting, share it and start some discussions. And we'll be back very soon with many more powerful reports from all across the globe.